lots of reserves on hand, whereas usually you're only required to have a couple. We have like 6+. We have about $6 million, give or take, in reserves. So any settlement under the maximum that they're seeking, we can write a check. It's not going to put the county. I know I don't want to pay any more than I have to either. I understand that. That's my job. I am a steward of your tax dollars. So again, and that's what we've been trying to do as far as this negotiation. Trying to get everybody to their bottom, what is their bottom line.
Do you think the judge who
That's cool.
Well, the fact that y'all are in new
Wasn't me.
But will the fact that y'all Will the fact that y'all are a new group of commissioners and a new judge that didn't do any of this, have any determination on what he was doing?
I mean, it's the judge's
Okay.
call.
Yeah.
So it's a possibility.
He could decide he's not going to penalize the county for somebody else's conduct. But then again, he has a group that he could look at this group and say they've had to go to great lengths to get the county to come into compliance. So I can't, that question, Judge Flanagan is the only one that can answer that question. Do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you, I'm moving on. You have a question?
Okay, I have two wrote in just one, just for you, and then one for the commissioners
Okay.
there. Okay, number one, who says enough is enough in order to stop the bleeding?
All of us.
Okay.
The Commissioner's Court.
All right, who will be responsible for putting in a comprehensive waste management plan?
All of us.
Okay. All right. Now, Commissioner Beckendorff and Commissioner Barnett, you're saying that we need this money from Pentel to get these gifts, I call them trinkets or bribes. In order we need this money in order to get these trinkets, okay? You keep mentioning the jail. I think that's,
Why can't you say Twinkies?
Okay, that is something. You're saying, well, you keep saying we need this money because we're going to get this and we're going to get that, and you're just waving these, dangling these gifts in front of us to seem like entice us, which sounds like you have already been enticed. Okay, and another thing you keep saying, you two, we all work for you. We work for you. But apparently, the previous judge and the previous commissioners, they realized that too. But they betrayed our trust. Why should we believe something that's said now from you? Those three people betrayed us. You said, we work for you, we work for you. So, the others had the same idea. Yes, we work for them, but they disrespected us. And they took advantage of us. You referred to us last night as lay people. I mentioned to me that's saying, lay people are, forgive me, stupid people. We're uninformed, We're not children. We can comprehend. We want you to be transparent, but don't try to deceive us by thinking we're just lay people.
I'll answer and then Commissioner Beckendorff. I did not say that we need this, not one time. I have not said that we need this. I said the only thing I've asked the people is to read this so that they can come back to me and let me know how they want me to vote Precinct 3. As I said last night, as I said again tonight, and I'm glad you videotaped it, that you, the citizens of Precinct 3, read this, get an understanding, so you let me know either you want me to vote this up or vote this down. Those are my words. Just a matter of I have not deceived anybody. I am very transparent. That's why I'm asking everyone to read this. So the transparency is that you know what's in it. And my reference last night is layperson. No, it wasn't I said I have to have things in layman terms. I was referring to the judge. He's an attorney. He said in the legal term. I work on just lay terms. That's what I said. I did not refer to anybody as being, I mean, I guess we all a lay person in one way or the other. You know, it doesn't mean that you're unintelligent. It's just that you put it in a manner in which everybody can understand. I don't understand all the legal, and my words last night were mumbo jumbo that they use, because I'm a police officer. I put them in jail. They use the legal mumbo jumbo to get them out. That's what I said last night. So it wasn't. If you took it like that, I apologize. But that's not what I said. So no, I did not say that we need this. I asked the people to read this, to get an understanding of this, so they can come back to me as their commissioner and either tell me they want me to vote it up or vote it down. That's all I said.
Ma'am, for the record, do you live in Precinct 3?
Yes, she does.
And what are you wanting to tell your commissioner? What,
Vote it down.
Commissioner Beckendorff, do you have anything to say?
I'll just say real quick that, you know, we're here not because it's the easiest thing to be here. It's the easiest thing to do would have all three of us stayed at home and watched whatever comes on TV on Tuesday night.
I know that's right, because I had to eat dinner.
Me neither. Where's good around here? You got your recommendations?
But I say this, it is important that we understand what's in that host agreement. And the question that I would like to ask, who wrote the host agreement?
Have you read it? Not me.
This
Not us two. We're not lawyers.
Constable, this host agreement was written by, I know Ellison and Bass had hand in writing this thing. They had hand in writing this thing. Mr. Gage, who wrote this host agreement?
All I know is a lot of the same things are in this. I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
We knew you could do it, Ms. Gage. Go ahead, tell us.
No, I really don't know, but I know a lot of the same things are in every other Pintail Green Group host agreement.
I would imagine that Pintail proposed an agreement with Allison Bass on behalf of the county. And then I know, for example, Judge Beckendorff, the commissioners. I know at one point Citizens for a Better Waller County was asked their opinion. I had gotten out of the group. They asked me as an attorney if I would look at the host agreement. I had a lot of problems with it, not just, you know, from a legal standpoint, I had some issues with it.
Well, let me just say this, just from a common sense thing, and I'm gonna tell you, I've been around fighting against injustice and stuff for years. And the only thing I fought was for people to be treated fairly. That's all I ever fought for, but because I fought for that, I became the bad villain. And to stand up sometime and speak like this, you become the bad villain. But sometimes you just can't hold your peace. If the citizen didn't know about the host agreement, didn't have no part in writing the host agreement, the people that was in office, who was a part of that host agreement, that got in trial, and the jurors said that all those citizens lied to us. I was one of the jurors that morning. And I opted all the way out that I could because I had heard enough. But you don't have to be a rocket scientist. It's just common sense stuff, man. Common sense stuff. We already know. We didn't heard stories about how it could contaminate our water. Then we heard him talking about somebody getting blown up because, all kinds of stuff we didn't heard. Common sense. We don't have to be rocket scientists. See, this is just common sense. Why should we accept something that we wasn't even a part of as citizens? Even you all wasn't a part of it.
I want to say one thing. I was a mayor and was not included in discussions for that.
Okay.
But yet Citizens for a Better Waller County were, and they have no stake.
Yeah.
That is not
argue with
right. That is not
I'm not gonna
right.
argue with that. And is there anybody else? Well, Don Garrett was here. Well, Gina was in. You know, I was, one of the reasons that I had to distance myself from the group was because I was disappointed that they weren't taking a more active role in the process and stuff. They kind of felt like, you know, they had all, I don't know. There were some members that felt like there was nothing they could do, so why waste any time? And I kind of didn't agree with that stance, so.
Judge, can I just add one thing to what Commissioner Beckendorff asked me? He asked me what it was, what it was you could do.
Start gagging everybody on the front row.
He asked me what else you could do to fight this landfill. So to fight this landfill, you could also go with that creek that's behind the Clear Creek. Because of the fact that requires a Corps of Engineer permit for them to do that. And I don't think anybody here has gone to the Corps of Engineers and asked what green group or the name of that landfill. Anyway, what are their name today? What they have talked to the Corps of Engineers about.
I can tell you that can't do it. The jurisdictional determinant.
He can't hold it.
Come on, this is gonna be a dissertation, I'm gonna shut it down.
Okay, that's fine, and I'll try not to explain the groundwater availability model.
Making my brain hurt.
Come on, Rick. They had to do a jurisdictional determination of the site.
That's a wetlands identification.
Which is a wetlands delineation to see if there were any jurisdictional waters that would be under the jurisdiction of the Corps of Engineers. They did what's called a preliminary jurisdictional determination. They did not have an approved jurisdictional determination. They declared waters on site as non-jurisdictional, which they shouldn't have under a preliminary jurisdictional determination. But
Okay, so
they did
Rick, what you're
find-
saying there is, what the people you're opposing and the landfill people, that's going to be their prime case in the contested case hearing. That's going to be where they're going to try to beat you at in the contested case.
No, because the Corps of Engineers agreed. They let them get away with declaring waters that they non-jurisdictional that they shouldn't. The Corps of Engineers Galveston District Office allowed them to do that. So, nevertheless, there are wetlands that were identified on site. Okay, but because they're not going to be interfering with those wetlands, they're going to be going around them. They don't require a Corps of Engineers permit. Now, what they didn't say in their permit application is that they have plans to borrow soil from the east side of the tributary as daily cover. They've got a major problem there because not only do they have to cross the floodplain to get that soil to the other side, they have to cross a jurisdictional waterway.
Y'all need to go outside.
Yes, I did.
And I'm gonna ask everybody, if there's a question, statements, if you have an opinion or a statement, or you want your commissioner to know how you feel, you can do that at the end of the meeting. Okay, you can go over your, so let's, are you making a statement?
Well, a statement and a question. Okay, this is my third one, the one in Patterson, Monteville, and Hempstead. Of course, the North County is much more informed than the South County. And I can tell you right now, the South County is very rowdy and they don't really know what's going on and they're confused. So, but you know, hey, I live in the South County. So, the other thing is that you're looking at delay. He was telling you how the court had all of these delay tactics. And Commissioner Barnett and Commissioner Beckendorff seem to be doing more delay tactics. And that's how you approach something when you're getting ready to get your butt kicked. You want to delay that as much as possible. So I'm suggesting that we go ahead and settle this case, stop the hemorrhaging, send a clear message that we don't want Houston's landfill in Waller County. We can't handle Houston's trash in Waller County. We couldn't handle Houston's traffic in Waller County. Just send a clear message, not a mixed message. And the other thing is the comprehensive solid waste program. You've been working on that for 4 years. You can get an MD, you can graduate from law school, you can do a lot of things in 4 years. There is no reason for that not to have been done. I need a date. You told me you had already started it. You did. You said that this week. I need a date it's going to be finished.
Can you give me a date?
I need a date. It's been 4 years.
It's impossible. If I give you a date, then
Give me
we'll
a
be right
date
back in
plus
this
or minus
situation
a month.
again.
Plus or minus a month.
With that, now, you're saying we're delaying. I'm not delaying anything. I don't have any time bearing on this at all. This is all going to be done by the court. I don't have any time. I can't go to the judge and say, Judge Finnegan or Flanagan, whatever, do this right now, or I want you to stop right now. I'm not Am I delaying you by asking you to read
No, I
and get an understanding?
The county needs to write its own comprehensive waste management program for solids. You need to be doing that. That should be a priority. There's no reason for you to be doing anything but
When I first became county commissioner, I went right up here to Prairie A&M University. I got with Dr. Johnson and his team. We sat down, and I asked Dr. Johnson to help me formulate not just a solid waste management plan, but a strategic plan, a whole plan for Waller County.
Well, give me a date,
I
plus or
can't
minus
give-
2 months.
Here's what I will tell you. I during the campaign, I pledged that if elected, that we would begin the process. I think, what did I say, 90 days?
You signed an agreement
I
that
signed
said
an
you'd do
agreement
that.
within 90 days. I'm sitting here today, I don't know if any of us can tell you how long it takes to put together a county-wide comprehensive waste management plan. I can just tell you, it is my intent to work with these commissioners to start that process in the next 60 days and to keep working on that process until it is completed.
Judge is already there. We can just pick up where we were stopped with this plan. It's there. We got all the documentation. It's right there up at Prairie University.
Because I'm in Monaville, and we're not going to be martyred. Okay, we're not going to be martyred. You're going to come up with something brilliant.
How you gonna make them come up with something?
I will help them. I will help them, and it will be brilliant.
I have a comment, 2 comments.
Okay.
Real quick. The contingency plan situation was mentioned by the lady on the front row. And based on what I've heard, that if the ordinance, 2013 ordinance and this host agreement stays intact, then the county commissioners court has decided to work with Green Group
That's exactly
with
right.
this landfill. This is what I've heard. The only way that the county can serve its citizens is to do away with that thing.
Yes.
That's my first
Yes.
point. Okay? My second point,
To rescind the contract.
yes.
Yes.
Until then, you're tied in with them.
That's right.
Okay. Now, my second point is simply this. You said that the special prosecutor's case is not closed, and because everyone was operating within their office of duties, and this may be my military thinking background, that if a public servant breaks the law, or if a public servant in office is charged or indicted for misconduct or criminal activity, the public does not have to pay those legal fees. There's a clause in the law that you can go back and they can be charged individually for these legal fees. Now, I'm done.
Yes, I do. I've been involved in a lot of project development here and internationally, not in a landfill, but we developed power plants. And a power plant has an agreement called the power purchase agreement. And it's similar to a host agreement, where you're going to compensate somebody's going to make money out of it. Usually mine were solar, so they were paid for by government funding. And the city or even the developers get the money. The problem is, all of the monies are projected in the host agreement, right? Very little is probably paid up front. Okay, if any. So it's really a pipe dream, quite honestly. In private equity, you get a coming all day long how great it's going to be. You're going to get $1 billion, all right? There's any number of things that can happen, especially in a landfill. And even a landfill is terrible because it's not an asset that they're building, like a building or something that can be bought out easily. It's a liability. It's a crappy deal. But that being said, landfills, 7 years from now, the EPA could come in and change the rules. Change the whole game, and they don't have the money to pay that. And this is a private company. And a private company can engineer a bankruptcy very easily. I'm not saying they do, or would, but they can.
Let me just, on that point, one of the issues that I had with the host agreement is that it did not run with the land. So in other words, if Pintail bellies up or anybody, who's obligated? Or they sell it. I didn't feel like the mechanisms were there to like deed restrictions. So whoever touches this landfill, those, you have to honor those liabilities. That was one of the issues that I saw early on in this deal, so.
Yeah, so my point was, the money's irrelevant. It could be $1 billion. We just don't know if it'll ever come to pass. The rules could change. Again, we're sitting with a big liability, not an asset. It's very different if you build something that's a construction project and a plant or something that produces stuff. This place just eats up our land. And that's all I wanted to say. You have no protection with a host agreement, regardless of who owns it. Not with a private company. Public company, you may have a little bit better chance.
Okay, I'm gonna make people mad. Richard, what?
I forgot, it's been so long. I guess maybe I'm just missing it. I mean, and I really, first, Trey, I'm delighted to see that this kind of a conversation is going on around an issue like this. This is what was missing. We've had a lot of conversation about, you know, that people didn't see the host agreement. They didn't read the host agreement. They don't know what's in the host agreement. It's been posted out on the website. Folks, we just had a trial where our county, the guys that sat in those 5 seats up there, not those 5, but the 5 that these gentlemen sit in now, were found to be guilty of misconduct in violating the Texas Open Meetings Act and the Texas Open Records Act. And what I'm hearing is, if there's enough money, we're going to go, okay, it's okay. That's what I'm hearing. And I got to tell you, from this citizen to my county judge, and I've already told Commissioner Ansler, as far as I'm concerned, we got to do everything we can do to stop this thing and stopping to negotiate so that we can somehow get paid for what is this violation that's being done to us. I know what that is. And you can hire it downtown Houston about 11 o'clock at night. It's cheaper there, but I'm telling you, that's what we are doing here. We are prostituting this county for a chunk of money. That's it.
That's not even
I've never known landfills to be good economic development.
No, look, I mean, I've done this business. I'm in the environmental business. I've worked for landfill companies in the past. I understand how they operate. I'm telling you, the best ones in the world are still giant piles of garbage with an awful lot of liability attached to them, and I will now shut up. Thank you so much,
The Green Group Holdings is running the Arrowhead landfill in Alabama. One of their investors here and there is Phillips and Jordan, which is a railroad company, or works with railroads, I should say. Phillips and Jordan, in like a name like P&J something, were the operators of Arrowhead at the beginning. They went bankrupt. Green Group came in and took over for them. They did not pay the fees to the county and to the little town,
That's exactly what
Union Town. And that's what happened. They are a limited liability company. They go bankrupt and they have a new name tomorrow and they're in business.
They've already had 3 years.
I've already seen a lot of 20 years. I see that, not on that corporate level,
Financial engineering.
but on a small level. I see LLCs are a dime a
And
dozen.
then they were Green Group. They've already done it.
Judge, Commissioner Barnett, for one this evening, has held the host agreement copy and said, we can't ignore it. Here it is. I disagree that it exists. Why do I say it simply does not exist? There's nothing to talk about, nor does the ordinance, and here is my reasoning. I don't know if you were at the court on December 1st when the trial judge Flanagan swore in the jury, all 19 or 20 of them, there's a bunch of alternates at the time. He turned from his judicial chair and looked the jury straight in the eyes, right after he had sworn them, and said,
You are now the judges of this case. And all the jurors did like I did. Wait a minute. You're the judge. What do you mean? He continued, you are the judges of the case as to matters of fact. He continued, I am the judge of this case of law. The jurors, 11-1 on all 13 questions, said wrong was done. Those acts were illegally done. I cannot get my mind around the possibility in any way, shape, or form that something that was done illegally even exists to be discussed in any manner. The only thing I can see that would breathe life into those things would be for Judge Flanagan to turn out to be an activist judge and throw the jury's verdict out. And for the Court of Appeals to be an activist Court of Appeals and uphold the throwing out of the jury's verdict, and for the Texas Supreme Court to be activist and support the appeals court in throwing it out. What are the odds that all those things will happen and the jury's verdict of fact will be thrown out the window? I think it is 0.